Hi, this is a second part of a reaction video that I should have done in the first reaction video, but there's only so much of this stuff I can take. It really makes me queasy to my stomach at times. And this is about Peter Maddox, the president of the Direct Sellers Association, that spoke on behalf of women to women. I know the irony. On the Standing Committee on the Status of Women about Women's Economic Empowerment. Yes, he is saying pyramid schemes empower women. Multi-level marketing empowers women. Don't you know that, you guys? So I reacted to his 5-minute speech, and I didn't think, and I didn't want to face what any member of parliament might have asked him, because there was a question period afterwards. They could ask the various people that showed up at this standing committee. This happened on February the 6th, 2024, by the way. And there were 3 members of parliament that asked him questions, and all of them were absurd. And it doesn't matter what political leanings that you have, because all political parties completely dropped the ball. All of them believe basically that multi-level marketing companies are totally legitimate, because nobody called Peter Maddox out, not one member of parliament. And the questions were absurd. And the Liberals, they didn't even say anything. Liberals didn't even ask a question. They never even left a comment. Conservatives ask a ludicrous question. Bloc Québécois, ridiculous question. The NDP, oh my God, you're not even going to believe what the question the NDP asks. How is this even reality? So I don't know whether these members of parliament, they are just so uninformed, or they're willingly uninformed and turning a blind eye. Both scenarios are horrifying to me. How is it that Peter Maddox from the Direct Sellers Association can come in and speak to a standing committee of women talking about women's economic empowerment on a model? It's not a business model. Multi-level marketing holds more similarities to human trafficking than direct selling. Human trafficking involves recruitment, exploiting victims for profit, using forced labor. Victims are controlled through mental, emotional abuse. Not one member of parliament brings up why is there over a 99% loss rate across multi-level marketing, Peter? What do you have to say about that? What do you have to say that, according to the Federal Trade Commission in the United States, the FTC, on their own website, John M. Taylor's study, Appendix 7E, the MLM profit and loss comparisons? Why is it that multi-level marketing companies have a higher loss rate than a classic no product-based pyramid scheme? How absurd is that, Mr. Maddox? How absurd is it that multi-level marketing companies have an even higher loss rate than gambling roulette at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas? Peter Maddox also used 2 examples. He cites women at the very top of their pyramid schemes, but he frames it in a way that the DSA likes to give out awards each year, positive outcomes or something like this. And he cites Monat, and he says this story of a rags to riches story. Basically, somebody came into Canada, only spoke English, shared the Monat opportunity, shared the products with her friends and family, to those that also spoke Spanish, and had her own construction business, and now isn't this wonderful? The reality is that he neglects to point out is that he's describing a fraction of a percent. He's describing the top of a pyramid scheme. He doesn't mention that 96.91% of market partners make on average $20 a month, Canadian. Monat doesn't cite the median earnings, because that would skew the already abysmal numbers even lower. So, for example, say you have 10 women. 9 of those women make $5 a month, and 1 woman makes $500 a month. If you take an average of that, it's going to skew the statistics. It's going to skew that average up closer to, it's an unrealistic representation of what the majority of women in that sample of 10 women are experiencing. A median would give a more accurate representation. And what's horrible is that this best case scenario that Monat has chosen is already horrible. $20 a month. How is $20 a month empowering? $20 a month experienced by 96.91% of participants in Monat is disempowering. And the same can be said for Arbonne. He cites a top Arbonne rep. And what's weird, it's so wild, I can't even believe that he did this. He cites Camilla Eves, and I'd made a video reaction to her with Brandy Hadfield. And she's an actress, this Canadian actress. So I know that he was using her as an example because there's a good chance that other women in parliament probably know who this woman is. And he says that he tells her story too. She was, this actress, and she wanted to, supplement her income and spend more time with her family. The same thing that goes on in multi-level marketing companies. But with Arbonne, the statistics are just as horrible. So he tells, Camilla's story that now, he's describing the very top of a pyramid scheme, less than a fraction of a percent of people that make all this money, which is actually, they're not earnings, they're the losses of the participants below them, the losses of the downline. Arbonne's income disclosure statement for 2022 does show the median annual earnings. So 62% of their consultants earned a median annual earnings of $149. That's Canadian. That's the median. 62% of consultants, which you could say most of these consultants are women, 62% are making $12 a month Canadian. How is that empowering? They're not business owners. They're not making any money. No matter which way you try to frame this, it's not like this isn't teaching them entrepreneurial skills. It's just disgusting. So then I was really excited, though, that he brought up Camilla Eves, because he gave her an award. So he starts talking about how the Direct Sellers Association, like, we have this code of ethics and integrity, and then we give these awards out each year. And I'm like, the code of ethics and integrity, when with truthandadvertising.org's most recent investigation found that 98% of multi-level marketing companies make misleading income claims. In 100% of the MLMs that sit on the board of directors on the US DSA, they all make misleading income claims, and Canada's board of directors is no different. There was one multi-level marketing company that I found on Canada's US board of directors that's called Tokera that wasn't included in Tina.org's investigation. But I did a really quick search on Facebook and I found two fake, false, misleading income claims right away. And so he's talking about code of ethics. This is empowering women. And then he says, we've awarded this award to Camilla Eves. And Camilla Eves is on the record saying that she thought Arbonne was a pyramid scheme and that she was going to stay and make as much money as possible and before the police came.
I decided to start. And I didn't really get Arbonne for a long time. Like, I actually thought, and this is crazy, but I actually thought Arbonne was a scam, like an illegal pyramid scheme. Like, I was like, it totally must be, but I'm just going to do it. And I'll make as much money as I can, as fast as I can, and get out before the police come. Like, that's how I started this business.
It's great. Well done. The Direct Sellers Association would give you an award. And maybe you could also appear at the Standing Committee on the Status of Women and speak about how this is about women's economic empowerment. You cannot make this shit up. Now we're going to look at the questions that the members of Parliament asked Peter Maddox. So the Liberals didn't say anything. They asked no questions. They made no statement. Conservatives ask a stupid question. NDP ask a really stupid question. And the Bloc Québécois, stupid question. Nobody challenges Peter Maddox. Nobody says, hey, you're advocating for pyramid schemes. Hey, can you account why you're saying that all these billions of dollars of revenue are actually the losses of the participants, that 84% of independent sales consultants in Canada are women, and that over 99% of them are losing money each year, and what this is doing to them and their families? Oh, no, we don't say anything like that. Let's just ask some irrelevant questions and just pretend that everything is okay.
For 6 minutes. Thank you so much. My first question is for Peter Maddox. In terms of the leadership, because we're talking a lot about leadership, I'm wondering if you can let me know how many folks in senior leadership, like your level of leadership, are women. And out of those, how many are Black, Indigenous, people of color, or from the 2S LGBTQ plus community?
Because what we really need, this is the NDP asking this question, because we really need to have like more vulnerable populations that are already targeted and preyed upon by these companies. But we want to get them in part of the fraud too. Like, let's let them get in on the action. Let's let them get in so they can target and create affinity fraud. Like, why aren't there more women involved there, Peter? Like, how many more women are in just like positions like you? I'm like, you cannot make this shit up. This is her question. Where do you even go? How do you even write a member of parliament when you see this is what they're saying? Like, are you saying it's like, okay, how many stories, how many pieces of anti-MLM content, how many survivors have come forward documenting abuse, people being defrauded, people being exploited? And then you have a member of parliament saying, well, how many people of color and women are in positions of leadership in multi-level marketing companies? Oh, it gets worse. It just gets, just hang on. I was like, maybe there's a reason I shouldn't have even fast forwarded it and looked at the questions, because it just made me mad. But we have to see this stuff because this is why they're allowed to exist.
Yeah, great question. Certainly in terms of our membership in Canada for the companies. So a lot of our, just to give you a sense.
Oh, sorry, just because I have a limited time, like in terms of like upper management, I'm not talking about independent business owners.
Well, they're not business owners, independent business owners. I wonder if she works with Amway. That's what I wonder, because she's calling them an IBO. And he never said that. So this is what I wonder. I'm like, how many of these members of parliament are in multi-level marketing? Independent business owner, it sounds really suspicious to me. So she's not worried about the consultants. It's just like, how many people can get in like with these like good paying positions, because they're being paid by the participants, which are mostly losing money. Like, can you believe this? It's just unreal to me. It's like, oh, I know. We'll even like target and prey upon our own people. That'll really help them, because that'll be like an excellent model of behavior. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. The absolute ignorance is just disgusting to me. There is no, you know what? There is no reason, there is no excuse for this. If you're sitting as a member of parliament and you're on the standing committee of the status of women, and you can't shut this down, but actually entertain this idea that a multi-level marketing company that has more, that you want to have members of the people that you represent in the leadership, which has more similarities to human trafficking than direct selling. Victims are recruited. They're exploited for profit. Victims are controlled with a mental and emotional abuse. Are you kidding me? Oh, yep. Let's get back into this.
No, but upper management in Canada, I would say of our members, it's about 80% are led by women.
Does he have statistics for this? 80% are led by women, because 84% of the participants are women. Oh my God, this is so brutal. He's just making things up, and they're just believing it. It's like, this is the question that you can ask him, and that's what you ask him. How can we get more people of color in at the beginning, in at management of these companies? Oh my God.
To the point where on our board, we actually are consciously trying to get some men onto our board because
isn't that funny? Can you believe it, you guys? With multi-level marketing, Peter Maddox is such a funny, relatable guy. He's so affable. We really struggle. We need to get more men involved. Anybody that has been in multi-level marketing, that has had to, anybody that is like escaped multi-level marketing, anybody that has had to put up with the harassment, the intimidation, the flying monkeys, the Scientology level stalking. And then you're listening to this guy say, it's like laughing, ha ha ha, we need to get more men involved on these. You cannot make this shit up.
It's female dominated. In terms of the breakdown, in terms of different ethnic backgrounds, I don't have that information, but I can tell you it's fairly limited. So
it's fairly limited because it's a sea of white.
I think we've made one great step in terms of the women being strong on the board. Next step, obviously, is to try and spread that diversity into various other aspects of.
Would you
Well, I hope not. I hope you don't, because the last thing you need is more women to be exploited and defrauded and abused. But the NDP needs to really ask another really good question here.
able to send that into the committee?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine getting statistics on who's going to be at the top of a pyramid scheme, and he's going to write a report and he's going to send it into the Standing Committee on the Status of Women. This is what is going on in our country. What the fuck? Seriously. All of them are bad. This is just the NDP. This is just the first one. The Conservative and the Bloc Québécois are no better. And the Liberals, they don't even say anything. If they did, they'd probably be something along these lines. Not one person stands up and challenges anything he's saying. Not one person is informed. And I had written the chair. I had written Karen Vecchio last year, and she said that she was going to raise my concerns with her parliamentary colleagues and bring it up the next time she spoke with the Direct Sellers Association. Guess what? That didn't happen either. You should write your member of parliament. Let them know. Where do you stand on multi-level marketing? Did you see this egregious behavior by other members of parliament when they had the opportunity to ask the Direct Sellers Association, the president, and they did nothing? They piddled it away. It's absurd. How many women have to be abused, exploited, and defrauded before the Standing Committee on the Status of Women listen to them? You cannot make this shit up. And the disillusionment continues with with the Conservatives. I was hoping that there would be one member of parliament that would just say something, that would just bring in reality into this. But alas, it was not meant to be. And so let's take a look at this. This is the riveting question put forth by the Conservative member of parliament.
Mr. Maddox. Mr. Maddox, how would the Liberal policy on natural supplements, pulling them back and regulating them, impact your industry and women in particular, and economic empowerment for women?
So they're more concerned with it being a Liberal policy. And I don't know if you're following Canadian politics right now or whatever, but there's scandal upon scandal upon scandal with the Liberals. But to me, here it is. You have over 99% of people are losing money every year in multi-level marketing. 84% of participants in multi-level marketing are women in Canada. This is over 10%. Then it's higher than it is in the United States. This is an alarming statistic. This is devastating Canadian families. People, according to the DSA's website, they make misleading income claims. They outright lie. They have this one part on it where it says that the earnings that these participants use, they use it to pay down their debt. This is inaccurate. This is an outright lie. Most people are losing money. So they're not, if you spend $4,000 in a year and you get a paycheck of $125, you can't use that $125 and say, oh, I'm paying down my debt with it, when you have outlaid so much more money. But this is what's going on in multi-level marketing. And instead, the question is Liberal policy. Liberal policy of regulating, because in Peter Maddox was talking about, there's apparently some legislation about health supplements. We need more health supplements. The world doesn't need another multi-level marketing health supplement that is unregulated and isn't properly labeled, and most oftentimes isn't even labeled in Canada's 2 official languages. There has been so many harmful effects of multi-level marketing supplements. And the question that this Conservative member of parliament chooses to ask is right away, how is the Liberal policy going to affect women? How is having multi-level marketing pyramid schemes exist helping women? Are you kidding me? But this, I'm like, this is where we're at. This is why it's totally pointless. This is where I feel, when you try to file a report with the FTC in the United States, which I do, even though I live in Canada, and while I write a member of parliament, what good does it do? They don't give a shit. None of them are educated about multi-level marketing companies. Even when written to, having all this content, how many of their constituents are losing money each year? And this is what they get. This is what they choose to do when they have the president of the Direct Sellers Association right in front of them. These are the questions that they're asking him. How can we get more minorities in to defraud their own people? And is the Liberal policy on like natural health supplements, is that going to really like affect your sales, you know, for all this other sketchy multi-level marketing companies that are going to be launching in Canada as they pop and drop, as one opens up and then shuts down, and then another one opens up and then shuts down, and then they just change names? This is going to negatively impact women. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I don't know if I can take any more of this. We got to get through this, and then there's one more question.
It's expected to have a significant impact. The fact is that if it costs a lot more to launch a product in Canada and to market a product in Canada, then less of those products will become available. Either companies...
Well, the products are irrelevant because the ultimate product in every multi-level marketing company is the business opportunity. That's the only reason these things exist. 98% of multi-level marketing companies make misleading income claims, just released. 99% loss rate across multi-level marketing companies. Why in the fuck are we even having this conversation when most of its victims are women? And this is supposed to be women's economic empowerment? I'm going to lose my shit. I've already lost my shit.
Will stop selling certain products, or they'll completely withdraw from the Canadian market. That takes,
oh my
as
God,
I mentioned in my talk, it takes away
the horror of withdrawing Elomere. Remember Elomere, that little post-it note yellow thing that you were supposed to, you know, I think you were supposed to stick it under your tongue, like it was sublingual, but everybody was putting it on their tongue, and it just basically had like turmeric in it, some spice. And it's like, it solves everything. You have Amare Happy Juice. Like, people are claiming that they can get off their medication. So what do you think the health effects are on this for Canadian women when they're buying these products that are from multi-level marketing companies? Which multi-level marketing company after multi-level marketing company has been shown to mislabel their products. Ugh.
Just because I have such a short time, do you have a number?
Yeah.
Do you have an actual number that you could table?
I have a number for you, Michelle. Over 99% of people lose money across multi-level marketing. 84% of participants are women. Most of these women and their families are losing money. Over 99% of people lose money. The fraction of a percent of the people at the top of these pyramid schemes that are earning money are only earning money at the losses of the participants. There are virtually no retail sales outside of these structures. There is no demand for the products. The sales, predominantly the sales, which Peter Maddox likes to claim as retail sales, they use those terms, he uses those terms interchangeably. And multi-level marketing uses those terms interchangeably. Retail sales just means sales, even though it's the distributors themselves, the people that are signing up for the business opportunity that they can attain financial freedom, of which 98% of multi-level marketing companies are making misleading income claims. There's some numbers for you. Please do your research. Please look into this. There is a looming mental health crisis as women wake up and exit these predatory schemes. And they don't have anyone to talk to because they come into roadblocks like this. My own government won't protect me. They're speaking not to the victims, they're survivors that are saying, these are scams. Look at how much money I've lost. Because you'll have someone like Peter Maddox saying, well, you didn't have a proper mindset. You weren't consistent enough. You didn't share your trauma and emotionally manipulate people, making Facebook Live videos to sell the supplements that might be inhibited by the Liberal policy on regulating multi-level marketing supplements. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Please do your research. Type in anti-MLM. There's a vast array of people coming forward. Listen to Life After MLM podcast with Roberta Blevins. What does she have now? Going on 3 years of survivors' stories. It's not just happening in Canada. Was like, Peter Maddox, give me the numbers on this, how it's going to affect what? How it's going to affect his paycheck, or the people that are in the corporate structure of each multi-level marketing company or the Direct Sellers Association itself. The numbers are irrelevant. Those numbers are irrelevant. You're asking the wrong questions. And I'm sorry if I'm like really heated, and maybe you actually do come across this video, but it's so disheartening to see that the Standing Committee on the Status of Women, and this is it. This is where we're at right now. Nobody even has the courage to even confront him and point out his fallacies and his outright lies. This isn't about women's economic empowerment at all. This is about keeping women down. They're not business owners. They're not purchasing business licenses. They're not contributing to the Canadian economy. There's not $1.57 billion going back into all these independent sales consultants' products. No, that's flowing up to the fraction of a percent. Look at any multi-level marketing company's income disclosure statement, if they have one. Talk to somebody who's in multi-level marketing. That would be even better. Maybe you have a friend or a family member that's tried to get you into one. Do you really believe that an endless chain recruitment scam is legitimate business? You're going to go to your friends, like, on the parliamentary committee break and be like, well, this is a good business opportunity. If you recruit 3 people and you recruit 3 people and you just teach them to recruit 3 people, we can attain financial freedom. Come on. You know what's going on here. We all know what's going on here. What is it going to take for someone to stand up and just point out that multi-level marketing companies are pyramid schemes and that they should be banned, that they're a drain on the Canadian economy? They're not a bonus. They're destroying Canadian families. They're destroying social networks. Anybody that you talk to that's in multi-level marketing, what are they going to say? Well, what's the big deal? The products, I love the products. I love my Pampered Chef pan. It's really not that big a deal. You don't understand. Multi-level marketings have a bad rap. Ask them to explain their business model. Ask them to explain their compensation plan. How soon are you going to be called a hater from your friend or your coworker or your family member? This is happening. And I know there's a very high chance that each of these women have been negatively impacted by multi-level marketing. And nobody is standing up and calling this out. And it's a goddamn shame.
To the committee of what that would look like economically.
I do not have a number with me now. I know I work with some other associations and they've done research on that, so I can supply that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I don't even know if I should have made this video, but it needs to get out there, because how is it that I'm the only person in Canada talking about this? How the fuck is this possible? Like, I don't want this. I don't even want to be doing this, but somebody has to do it. Somebody has to stand up and speak out and say, this isn't right. Something needs to be changed. So until somebody else starts doing it, you're stuck with me. This is just where we're at.
And to the 3 witnesses in the second hour, I'm going to turn to Mr. Maddox.
So now we're on to the Bloc Québécois, and she's going to ask Mr. Maddox a question.
This time round, in your opening comments, Mr.
And if you're watching this and you're from the United States, we have 2 official languages in Canada, French and English. And when you're in Parliament, they'll have translators, interpreters, translators simultaneously. So they'll put their little earpieces in, and then so if somebody's speaking in French and you don't understand French, then you can listen to the translator, doing it in real time in English. So that's what's happening. So she's speaking French and then we're hearing the translation. So just a little interesting tidbit if you didn't know this.
Maddox, you talked about the impact of the cost of bureaucracy on women.
The impact of the cost of bureaucracy on women. What about the impact on the cost of multi-level marketing? Destroying people's finances, an over 99% loss rate. Worse statistics, worse loss than a classic no product pyramid scheme. Women would be better off investing in a classic no product pyramid scheme. Just call it what it is. Just go into this. You just give me money, and then you just get 3 people and just give them money. We're not even selling products. You don't even have to talk about your pampered chef pan and get all heated and defensive about supplements or collagen to heal your leaky gut or whatever the hell you're going to sell. Let's just straight up do it old school. You're going to have a better chance, a significantly better chance at making money doing it that way than in any multi-level marketing company. How are these things, how are these frauds allowed to exist? And how in the hell is Peter Maddox permitted to speak at the Standing Committee on the Status of Women and not one person challenges him?
Who wish to pursue these direct selling projects? I'd like to hear from you on the question of flexibility within bureaucracy and how certain programs are perhaps not flexible enough to take account of women entrepreneurs, for example. For example, we had the emergency accounts. We were asking for flexibility on reimbursing these amounts, and that really has an impact.
You're basically speaking to an association that is representing like human trafficking rings. This isn't an exaggeration. And I'm not saying this for shock value. Human trafficking has more in line with what's going on in multi-level marketing than direct selling. And you're speaking to him as if, well, how does the bureaucracy, how can we get more flexible in the bureaucracy to facilitate helping women? Like, we're helping empower them in these human trafficking rings. Like, do you fucking hear yourself? Like, I don't even know. We're almost done. I've got to get this done. Get it up, get it in, get it out. Don't miss my hairdo.
Impact in lots of different small businesses. So it's important to have more flexibility in these programs to help women to get launched in business.
So first off, again, these aren't businesses. This is multi-level marketing. People are being targeted and recruited into these schemes. They're promised financial freedom. You're speaking with someone who represents a whole vast array of different companies where 98% of them make misleading income claims with no consequences. The last thing they need is more flexibility and bureaucracy. When was the last time Competition Bureau Canada cracked down on a pyramid scheme? I mean, just look to the US. They don't do anything either. But you have an opportunity here to get some straight answers and hold this guy's feet to the fire. I mean, for fuck's sakes, this is not rocket science. Just explain, why is there a 99% loss rate? And what you're going to hear, why you're saying, explain this business model of all these board of directors, Modere, Monat. Explain why this board of director from Monat, they have 96.91% of market partners. That's what they call them in Monat. They're independent sales consultants. Why are they only earning an average of $20 a month? What is he going to say? Well, most of them, they just want to do it part-time. No, most of them are trying to make money and they are unable to because they're in a pyramid scheme. And they're being blamed for their failure and they believe that they're at fault. When they're caught in a mousetrap and they're defending the mousetrap that has snapped and has like broken their neck. Like, you can't make this shit up. How is it that I'm having to make a YouTube video to try to get this message out here? This is just, it's like so many levels of absurdity right now. I don't even know.
Yeah, I believe that government still largely looks at the question of labor and employment as in people are going to an office and working 9 to 5, and that's how they build their programs around that sort of relationship. And for them, a lot of people now, that's not how they make their living. That's not how they make an income. So I think there definitely needs to be some work done in terms of looking at the new structure of the work.
What he is saying is what we're all like taught in multi-level marketing. He's going to start going on about like, don't being chained to the cubicle, the old 9 to 5. Nobody talks like this anymore. Especially since COVID, since the COVID. It's like I was on the Facebook as well. Now I'm so fucking mad I can barely speak. But since the pandemic, everything has changed. People work all different kinds of jobs, like 3 weeks on, 10 days off, 4 days on, 4 days off. Could be 12-hour shifts. There's not just this 9 to 5. So as he's trying to speak like a human, well, the world has changed. It's not really 9 to 5. The world, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? She asked you about flexible bureaucracy. I don't even know the point of her question. The question is so stupid as well. None of these people are. I hope to God that they do some research and do something. But these questions are so stupid. They're you've pilfered an opportunity here. And I'm just floored that this is going on. The Standing Committee on the Status of Women.
Workplace. Many people now don't do one job. They do 4 or 5 different things. They might do direct selling for one of our.
No, people do 4 or 5 different things. Are they having 7 streams of income, Peter? Do they also go to 10x their business with Grant Cardone? This guy is literally in like having this meeting with these members of parliament, and he's saying this nonsense. And they're fucking sitting there, probably writing it down. Write this down. Can you believe it? They have 4 or 5 different things going on. Who are all these people that have 4 or 5 different things going on? Oh, right. The 84% of women that are in multi-level marketing that are subscribing to this nonsense. They've probably signed up for Transact Card, which is changed into Finmore, which before that was Rev Card. Rev Card tanks, Transact Card tanks, Finmore tanks. But they're, well, not yet, but it's on its way down. And what are you going to tell them, Peter? That it was their own, well, there's just some bad apples in our amazing industry. And this is really about empowering women. Or they're maybe starting to write letters to casinos to gamble with tokens that they're given. And then they're recruiting people into this business opportunity where they can earn financial freedom. Is that another one of their streams of income? Or are you going to start using examples like Uber? Oh, people are doing like 4 or 5 different things to earn money. He doesn't have a fucking clue what he's talking about. Neither do any of these members of parliament.
Companies, they might drive for Uber. They might work
He
in
fucking said Uber. I can't even. I didn't listen to this part. I'd only went, okay, fast forwarded it to see like where he showed up again. I can't believe he said Uber. But we all say this when we're in multi-level marketing. It's the same script. So the members of parliament have a lot more experience and knowledge about a lot of other topics, but with multi-level marketing, 2 thumbs down. You got to do better. This is a crisis going on in Canada right now. There is so much money and so much, it's affecting people's mental health, relationships, physical health, and you've just completely dropped the ball on this. And listening to this guy blather on, like, is he going to, I wonder if he's going to talk about, can you imagine being in at the ground floor opportunity of Google or Amazon? Nothing would surprise me at this point.
They might teach piano, all those sorts of things. So how do things like EI and those sorts of mechanisms, how do they work with that evolving workforce? Whether you think that evolving workforce is ideal or not, then there definitely needs to be some change to look at ways as to how we can encourage people to be entrepreneurial, to get into the workforce, because women in particular, if they're worried about childcare, or they're worried about looking after their parents, the Canadian economy suffers.
And the Canadian economy suffers because of multi-level marketing. It's such a big, huge, massive drain on the Canadian economy. And he's like, especially women. Oh, especially stay-at-home moms. Go after them. They really need to contribute. What better way than to come into an industry where guaranteed by design, over 99% of people must lose, but they'll still be so excited about their Pampered Chef pan or their Monat shampoo or their Arbonne fizz sticks that they won't look at the scam that they're a part of and see that their relationships are dwindling away. They'll be borrowing money to try to go to these events to improve their mindset and try to recruit everyone, their coworkers. They even have policies implemented in various places. No pyramid scheme recruiting allowed. But when you're in multi-level marketing, you say, not my company. Not my company isn't a pyramid scheme because pyramid schemes are illegal. And he's going on, especially women. Yeah, especially women. Well, especially this woman has had it and is speaking out. And I'm going to amplify as many voices as I can while I'm doing it.
People who can, at their choice, get involved in entrepreneurship and the economy, the better it is for all Canadians.
What a non-answer. Just like flexibility, bureaucracy. He didn't say anything. The best, like women, the more women get involved in entrepreneurship, the better. How is it better for all Canadians? Entrepreneurship is not getting involved in multi-level marketing, is not getting targeted and recruited into one of these scams where most people are guaranteed to lose money. That is by design, and it has nothing to do with their work ethic or their mindset. It's just luring more and more women into a mousetrap where most of them are going to snap. You're gone. That's helpful for the Canadian economy.
And that's a very general answer, but I think it sort of covers a lot of what we've talked about today.
Écoutez, en terminant,
Yes, well, to round off, Mr. Maddox, thank you very much for having talked about employment insurance to help women. Once again, the labour market, employment insurance really needs to be reformed to take account of the specificities of women's jobs that are sometimes more precarious, or they may have atypical hours.
That's it. And that's it. So that was the 3 questions. So I didn't watch like the whole thing because this was really long. This is hours and hours and hours. But I just kept like fast forwarding it in increments. And all I could see was the 3 different political parties. So that was the Conservatives, the NDP, and the Bloc Québécois. I didn't see any Liberal member of Parliament ask a question. Now, there could be, I could have missed it. So if I did, please let me know. I don't think I did. I think like I'd posted this in my stories on Instagram, and I also made a post and nobody, corrected me. So I'm thinking that it was it. So even all 4, does not matter what your political affiliation is. It's really important to have differing views on a variety of topics, because when you get a lot of different perspectives, you can work together. You can come up with some really cool solutions. And I know I'm sounding like Peter Maddox there. I believe this. I believe in having, differences of opinion. We can all agree that multi-level marketing schemes, they're pyramid schemes, that when someone says to you, all you need to do is recruit 5 people, sponsor 5 people. We don't recruit here. That's a dirty word. We enroll people here. And all you teach them, you just have to share with them. You don't sell the products. Even Peter Maddox purposefully misleading the Standing Committee on the Status of Women with his bullshittery of saying, well, she just shared it. She moved. She couldn't speak English. Her first language was Spanish, and she shared it with her Spanish-speaking friends and family. She sold. I don't even know where I was going. So I said, I need to have a coffee. I'm going to do my Caroline Gervin's workout that I really like to do. And that's it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.